advice I gave myself that I still have a cigarette here and there, like when I'm, over the weekend being a dumbass.
Yeah.
Still partaking in the shit that I do. But I quit smoking just like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, nice.
And I've done it before, but I'm so glad you brought that up too, man. It's just like that decision. The power of that one fucking decision and actually making it, and then not only that, having the resolve to like make it again and again and again and again. And the more you do, the easier it becomes. But I'm so glad you brought that up, because I'm trying to explain that same thing to people when they're asking me like, oh man, because they can finally see the change. I don't preach to people about me not drinking or the changes I'm making and shit or whatever. I'm actually just letting it like, let people see. If people
Hey,
ask,
my
like,
brother said I was like, oh shit, I haven't smoked in however long. He's like, oh, you're counting now? You're counting days? I was like, I'm not counting. I just know that it's been about a year now.
Yeah.
Because he's still smoking, but he keeps telling me I'm going to quit, and he never does. I didn't say I was going to quit. I just quit.
Yeah.
So that's, and then for him to bust my balls like that, it's funny. I go, hey, I'm not the one smoking, you fucking moron. But that's one of my best brothers, my best friends forever. We always joke around with each other and stuff like that. But let's this phone, by the way, that you're using right now, it looks clear, more clear than the other phone.
It's a lot better.
It's like super high definition.
I'm noticing that too, and I'm watching myself. I'm like, did something change or like?
It's more clear.
All right, as long as it's good. No, because luckily this company too, man. This company that I found coming down here, which is crazy as shit. They got me a new iPhone 8, so I got an OtterBox in that bitch.
Oh, nice.
I don't know. That might be it too. This is my phone. I got another iPhone 7 or some shit.
Okay.
No, about the iPhones too, but that's been a big change too. It's like adapting to the whole Android fucking iPhone bullshit too, man. But
I think Apple is easier to use.
Not only that, it's legit.
It's legit.
My nigga Steve Jobs, he did it right.
Hey, actually, me and my girlfriend went to the house that he was raised. It's like a 20, 30-minute drive from where we live.
Oh, shit.
So he was adopted.
Okay.
So he was adopted by the Jobs family. His real father is Syrian, and then his mother is Caucasian. So he had to go back to Middle East or Syria or wherever country he was from, and then the mom gave him up for adoption, which was the Jobs family. So he was adopted. That's why he was so edgy and didn't give a shit, because I think, and so bold, because he's like, I'm an adopted kid. He said he went to India and to learn calligraphy and all this other shit and spiritual enlightenment. And maybe that's why iPhones and iPods and all that shit are just so user friendly.
Yeah.
Because he just was like, don't overthink, just fucking make stuff easy.
Yeah. And not only that, the products that he puts in, like the individual products too, and that's why they're so expensive, because he set the standard. Like, motherfuckers are gonna pay for what they get because we're putting in the absolute best. We don't want no shit that's gonna fall apart. And like, he actually set the standard. Hang on a second, I clicked on there. You go. Standard of like actually making good fucking products that are actually gonna last.
It's not expensive. It's not I mean, it is expensive, but it's gonna last. It's more of an asset than anything.
Yeah. I was just sitting there thinking, like, for the first time, I actually bought like a legit OtterBox, like legit.
Nice.
Because of how fucking stupid it is that I would have like a $500-$600 phone and
drop it.
I couldn't afford a $50 fucking case. Like, it's such a sickness, dude. Really.
Nice. So what were we talking about right before? What were we talking about? I forgot.
How can your take, like you were saying, like the yin and yang of the universe?
Oh yeah, life's a balance. Like
parts like the ego specifically that I wanted to hear your take on.
The ego. So there's different types, I believe, right? So do you have the ego where someone can be a complete asshole, right?
Yeah.
And someone that's walking around like their shit doesn't stink. We all shit. We all bleed. We all die. So that's one ego breaker right there. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's a good one that I have, is that we all die. So don't ever think you're above or anything like that. But at the same time, you have to have confidence in yourself. So there's a little ego in confidence, but as long as you can tame it, I think that it's fine. And that ego shouldn't be as like, oh, your ego's out of control. but just be confident and say, hey, this is this is how I get through certain things. I have to be confident. I
Yeah,
have to have a little ego shine, but I also can tame it. And if you have any questions, if someone's calling someone out on ego, be like, this is why I'm acting like this or doing
yeah,
that. I never talked about ego ever. This is the first time.
yeah.
I never talked about it.
I'm glad, dude, because like it's so right on point with like the realizations that I've came to, and that I was just telling my friends about because, and me trying to understand it, really like, on my on my path to self discovery, really trying to like, I really do want to be like the best, not only version of myself that I can be, but like the best human being like possible.
Yeah.
Understanding it, and firstly understanding it too. So I was listening to Terrell Davis, my dude Terrell Davis for the three-time world champion Denver Broncos.
Oh, wow.
He was the running back. He was number 30 when they won 2 Super Bowls back when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But they interviewed him, man. He's a really humble dude, But they asked him like, hey, do you feel like you're the best running back? Or at the time, I think this was a later interview after they already won. They said, did you feel like you were the best running back in the league? And he's like, yeah. He's like, I honestly did. And he's like, the reason why is because, in order to, and he had to condition himself to think like that and to have that mindset.
Wow.
And he knew in his head that it was necessary for him to believe that and really think that. Because, like, think about it. Like, how the fuck are you ever supposed to be at the level? Like, you don't just accidentally roll out of bed and you're the fucking world's greatest running back. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have that mentality every day. Like, man, like, I'm going to be the fastest. I'm going to be the best. And in order to do that, you have to set your goals that high and then work your ass off to get there. So, of course, when they asked him, like, hey, did you feel like you were the best? He said, yeah. Like,
wow.
he knew he was the best because he knew that he had to believe that.
Yes.
Yeah. And the same as LeBron James. If you ask that fool, of course, when he first started off in the NBA, he was one egotistical motherfucker. But now that he's become more humble, but at the same time realizing that, he knows he's the best. And in order to be the best, you have to believe that.
Yes.
But of course, there's a right way of doing it, into where like you don't have to be shitting on people that are lesser than you, that aren't as good as you. Like you don't have to.
Yeah. See, that's the thing that.
There's a right way of doing it.
Yes.
And it's that realization, like just like you said too, man. Like the ego does serve a purpose. We are who we are. Whether you say it or not. Of course, like some spiritual gurus are gonna say, well, the whole path to enlightenment is like to realize you're nothing. And I'm like, well, that kind of negates the whole point of like our existence. Hang on a second, let me block this call.
Okay.
I got a work wife back in Denver. I got a weird relationship with this chick back in Denver, but she's the one that first. We'll get into that shit another day, man. Why I quit drinking? God damn it! Let me message her real quick.
Okay.
All over my ass. All right, we're good. Yeah, she's the one right next to me that wasn't drinking and started doing it too. So I give her
nice.
for my path, man. But yeah, I mean, there's a right way to do it, man. It's just a matter of understanding yourself, know thyself, and understanding what role the ego plays in you, how it serves you. Everything can serve you, or it can fucking hinder you. It's not
That balance, that yin and yang, dark night, life, death, anger. You can't be happy 24/7. You can't be sad 24/7.
Yeah.
It's a fine fucking line that we're playing on here, and no one understands that shit. I mean, people do understand it, but it's tough, and that's why you say being the best version of yourself. That makes me happy because, like you were explaining, how you'll be that man to pull over and help someone whose tire is flat. Same here. I'll hold the door open for somebody, and if someone doesn't do it for me, I get pissed. But then I go, it's not in their mind. They don't know. They don't give a shit. And
but I'm still like, you're welcome. Like,
I do that all the time.
Yeah.
Hey, you're welcome, scumbag. No.
You know how it is, man. Like, but no, and that's how I know the importance of like you and I talking, Demise, because like these are ideas that I've just recently formed and like I've really been thinking about, and for you to have like of course, like I'm not gonna be out looking for people that are on the exact same thing just to make me feel better or know that I'm on the right path. But then again, I do believe that there's an objective truth, and this is where we start getting into God. Like there is an objective right way of doing things. There's objective truth in the universe.
Yes.
Of course, that we are in a partially subjective universe, that this fucking grand infinite sea is broken up into billions and billions of human beings, all of which are experiencing this and feeling different things on their own level. So we can't look at people and be like, yeah, you're wrong. Of course, on some shit we can, you know what I mean? But in regards to like what we feel and who we are and the decisions that we make and how we see ourselves, that's kind of like a problem that's happening in society is people are starting to say like, no, you're wrong to think that, you're wrong to feel that. And it's like,
Yes.
fuck you. Like, who the fuck are you? You know, like, and the more I look around and find people like you that are on that level of awareness to where it's the closest to objective truth, you know, where everybody's kind of saying like, oh, like all religions are like, nope, we know the truth, you know, this Christian's going to say that, this
Exactly.
They're all going to be claiming like, no, we're right. And that's why it's kind of hard because like we have to have that ego and faith and believing like, okay, well, we're kind of seeing this objective higher truth of that goes beyond, that surpasses them. And we do believe that we're right in the sense like, yes, we are getting closer to understanding this objective truth that's closest to God or the closest like of pure thought. So in that sense, that's where I think like the ego, whatever you want to call it, like, yeah, I think that the path that I'm on, that you're on, the questions we're asking, like we are on the right path.
Yes.
Despite the fact that everybody else says the exact same thing. That's where I'm willing to have a little bit of ego and be like, no, man, like, here's why I'm willing to, like, you know, stand up for what I believe. And here's what I really, you know, here's the evidence in it. All the while, everybody else is doing the exact same thing. So I look like, you know, I look like the exact same thing. But it's just, this is evidence for me in meeting you and knowing, like, yeah, you're on the right thought path, man. Everybody else that I meet along the way that I've talked to about that I should have podcasted with.
Yes. See, that's the thing is like, I wish I would have recorded some of the conversations me and my brother had like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And because it was some of the deepest shit because he's not on any of the podcasts yet. But he said, one thing he said that always sticks with me is like, some things are just not meant to be known. And then I said like, hey, I wish we should have recorded. Is like, some things aren't meant to be remembered. Because he watched his dad die in front of him. So I what he says is like straight present time. He'll fucking burn everything. He'll throw all of his money away. He'll be like, I'm starting fresh. Because, you know, he saw his pops pass away in front of his eyes.
Wow.
Heart attack or whatever. And so that's someone I look to who's just like on the brink of insanity, but at the same time holding it together because he's a fucking, I've seen him fight too, and he fucks people up. So
yeah,
that's my brother. I hold on to him. We've known each other for a longest time. I've known his dad. So it's just like someone like that is very important to me because they're so in the moment at all times. And at any given moment, he can just snap.
Yeah.
So he's so artistic, but fragile at the same time. And like, he does not believe in God. He doesn't believe in the devil. And me and him have those talks all the time. He doesn't believe in like God as like a man or woman.
Yeah.
But I never asked him about what he thinks about like a big energy conductor or energy source. We've never talked about that. So that's why I brought that up on the other podcast. Because it just came to my mind one day. I was like, what if it's just one big old ball of energy that's shooting off little energies into, you know, ideas or whatever it is?
Let's hear your take on it, bro. What do you think?
As far as religion, I'm not religious in any like Christianity, Catholicism. So I guess my father, he's Christian, right? But he's done a lot of bad things in the past. So you can't ever throw that on me and be like, oh, what? I could just be forgiven for everything bad I've done. And then on my mom's side, my grandma was raised Catholic. So, but she doesn't push that on me, and religion was never pushed on me. But, as far as it goes, I've never read the Bible and stuff like that. And I don't think that I would need to. From the moral standpoint, maybe the Bible would be good. But I think that stuff has been kind of, over the years, misrepresented, little tainted over time. And I just believe that that's kind of old. It's time for a new philosophy. It's time for a new train of thought, a new way of thinking about a higher power, or if there is any, So that's all I really where I stand, and I don't know what's gonna happen after. And I think saying that is a little more powerful than if I was like, oh, I'm going to heaven or I'm going to hell. I'm
Yeah,
just saying, I have
yeah,
no clue. It's gonna suck, but we're gonna all have to find out one day. So I have one big question mark, and I'm not gonna be afraid of it. I'm not gonna be not afraid of it either. It's just gonna happen. So that's something that I think about, and that's why I'm not religious.
yeah.
Just personal, not religious, just for personal reasons and stuff like that. But
And it's kind of funny too, because like my two friends out here that I met, Sam and Sable,
yeah,
that the universe just blessed to put into my life. When I specifically asked, my biggest thing was like trying to find out like on my quest for success, like you are who you surround yourself with. And I'm looking around in Denver, like fuck, man, like I love my friends and all, but they're gonna be doing they're the ones that are been doing the same shit for 8 years.
yes,
They're gonna be doing the same fucking shit. You know what I mean? They're still having the same Christmas party. Same old fucking drinking, like going to the bar, like same old shit.
yep,
So when I asked the universe for like, I don't know how the fuck, I was like, man, just put me around somebody else. And I found Sable and Sam.
yeah,
They're on like the same journey too. But that's what we're talking about recently is in regards to religion. Sam was just recently like, man, we got to start our own religion or some shit. He said that like yesterday.
ha,
But that's why like they both asked me individually. They're like, are you religious? Like after we've already talked about like this real shit on a level to where I thought it'd be like astoundingly obvious that I'm not. But it's only because, and I kind of step back and say, oh, it's because I say God. In that standpoint, which took me like a long time to actually like train myself to be like, okay with like using the word God.
yes.
But no, like that's, it's taken a long time. So when first of all, I went to college for philosophy. Of
Oh,
all the
nice.
I could have done, yeah. I mean, I was good at math. I was good at everything. But I literally went to college for philosophy. Just to understand, like, and everybody gave me shit because nobody fucking understands, like, oh, what are you going to do with philosophy? Blah, blah, blah. Like, even I didn't even know. But, like, I just knew that, there was so much to learn in philosophy. And literally, that was, in my opinion, like, the best version of humans that we could be. And I still think that our philosophers are the people that are the wisest, that understand, that literally take time to master the art of understanding and acquiring knowledge and really deducing the absolute truths in the universe.
Yes.
So, and I'm always going to believe that, like.
No, that is true because what philosophers say, it simplifies everything. It'll simplify everything for someone that's, like
Yeah,
smoking. And to quit smoking or quit drinking, they'll be like, well, it's all in your mind. The addiction's in your mind or something. A philosopher will
yeah.
break it down in the way that most humans don't think because we're always pointing fingers or
Well,
overly thinking.
as an example, I use it for my dad because my dad's a Christian too, and like the way that I justify, or I not even justify like my own opinion, what I believe in my representation of God, but just showing him like, man, like how fucking ridiculous it is for him to believe literally the way he does in the Bible, like believe the stories. I'm like, Dad, in order for you to be a Christian, you have to fucking believe like in talking snakes. Like you have to believe
Yeah.
that God literally spoke down from the fucking sky, and like it's just the most fucking ridiculous shit that never happens nowadays. And I kind of just believe I kind of realized it was all bullshit. And I had to ask my dad. I was like, so Dad, like essentially with what you believe, what the Bible says you have to believe, that if I don't believe that Jesus is Messiah, if I don't believe that Jesus Christ is Messiah, I can be a great person like I am. I can be a great moral, like I know, like I follow in Jesus' words. Like I'm the kind of person that Jesus wanted to
Yeah.
be loved and really take care of your brother. I told my dad, I was like, I'm a good representation of what Jesus wanted. But just because I don't believe that he was Messiah,
Going to hell.
I'm gonna burn in hell. And he's like, yeah. So I was like, I just squeezed out of my father. I'm like, all right, so Dad, you're telling me I'm gonna burn in hell, right? And he's like, I mean, I had to like, that's the way I had to like. Or he never saw it like that before. But I'm like, to get him to understand, like that is what you believe. You have to understand that. So that's like kind of like the power of where I started learning how to train my mind.
Yes.
And utilizing that ability that I have. And I started looking at that in regards to everything. And like my biggest thing is just trying to understand this universe and trying to understand truth and God and what it really all is. And the coolest thing along my path is like how modern science modern science. So it's not just like hippy dippy bullshit talking about the universe and all this consciousness and the feeling, bro. You know what I mean? How science, mainstream science, is actually showing evidence of this source field energy, of the energy of the universe, and not only that, showing at a very quantum level on so many different experiments, how consciousness comes before matter, how our consciousness and the actual scientific evidence showing how our consciousness manipulates reality.
Oh,
and
damn.
how this underlying energy consciousness was existent before anything else.
Yeah.
And it always has been there. And then when we really start sitting back and thinking about the implications of that and how...
I don't know. Wait, hold on 1 second. I'll be right back.
Sorry.
It's okay. I don't know where he is. So wait, you're saying that it's consciousness... So basically, the consciousness is what created our reality, in a way. That is fucking insane. You know?
And then not only that, like, what's the evidence of it? Not only scientifically, but from our own personal experience. How can we experience this? And it's by this means of, like, how we can literally think something and we can visualize it and we can
manifest it, right?
And then we can manifest it by virtue of our actions and actually allowing us to take the free, we have the free will in that aspect to take the steps necessary. Because if I wanted to, the same as you could have just sat on your ass and fucking chugged another beer, but like, a podcast would have been a great idea and just like live that life.
Yes.
But instead, you decided to take the action because you have the fucking free will in the universe to actually make it happen.
Yes.
And then in regards to that, I was able to take my ideas and then somehow actually start tracing those, which led to you and I.
I'm so glad you did, by the way, too. I was telling everyone. I was telling my cousin, my girlfriend, everybody, and they're just like, that's sick. And my cousin, he was just like, holy shit. And he told his girlfriend's boyfriend, his name is Will, he told his sister's boyfriend about how I'm doing this. And he's like, oh, like, is he trying to go, what's he trying to do with it? Thinking about it as like a super, and I was like, if I was there, I would have told him, I'm just going with the flow, man.
Yeah.
Going with the flow right now.
Yep.
And, I think that's good.
And then not only that, when you sit back and really think about all the biggest innovations that have ever happened throughout the history of humanity, dude, even Steve Jobs and the Apple iPhone, man.
Yeah.
It was a fucking idea that he had when he was on acid.
Yes.
That's why I like it. That's why I love acid, is because it literally, like, I imagine our frequency that we automatically have, it boosts that motherfucker like crazy. We are literally able to pick up those fine frequencies that are deeper in the universe, that are closer to God. And when we're there, our emotional we can feel a lot more. We're able to, like, feel a lot deeper and connect with each other, but our creative abilities are a lot higher. Now,
true. Very, very true.
Steve Jobs thought of the idea for Apple when he was on fucking acid. Not only did he think of the fucking idea, but where it started, the fundamental of, like, how did he get the ball rolling, man? It had to start with the crazy idea and then start taking these steps, and then everything that happened by virtue of all other steps that he's taken. That's why I love listening to Steve Jobs when he says, like, you can't see the dots going forward. You can only see them, but when you look behind and see the way the dots were able to connect.
Hope they connect.
Yeah, so we don't know this shit, man, but, like, when it's these moments that I see the dots actually connecting in front of me, that's how I know, like, this is God.
Well, there's Jim Rohn that I'm going to reference him again because he went from being broke with 2 daughters to becoming wealthy because of the philosophy. He said, why do you think a farmer sticks a plow in a barren, nothing there? Because he can already see the garden growing. So you have to plant the seeds to sow and reap, just like if you wanted to start a podcast or whatever, you have to plant the seed, which is right now. Yeah. So, like, I read the book Mastery by Robert Greene.
Okay.
Robert Greene wrote the book, he wrote a bunch of books, but Mastery, he says, it's like the universe has a bunch of little seeds floating around, and it gets implanted into fertile soil, which is your mind, and then it's up to you to water that idea, keep it going, and let it grow. And if not, then you're kind of like faulty soil.
Yeah.
And that I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I love Les Brown. And that's why
Les Brown, yes. Les Brown's my man.
That I was in is I started listening to the motivational videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
And I listen to those every single day still, or at least as much as I can. Even though, like, if my friends saw me listening to those, you know, they'd be like, "Oh, you fucking self-help motherfucker, like listening to Tony Robbins," and try and make fun of me.
My mom's husband was like, "Don't ever play that shit again." And then my mom was like, "Yeah, he doesn't like it because it's calling him out on shit that he doesn't want to hear or feel because it's true." You have to listen to it and you have to let it sink in and go, "Fuck, I am not living up to my potential.
Yes,
I'm not living up."
You have to feed your mind, and not only that, remind yourself every single day, dude. It's a work in progress, man. Like the same as you and I have done the same thing of kind of knowing this shit for so long, but like letting it slide for so long, and just like, you know, building ourselves up and remembering what we're supposed to do, and then all of a sudden just falling right back. So, but Les Brown, the way he put it, he was like, when you die, standing around your deathbed are gonna
Ghosts.
be all the inventions, everything that only could have, you know, been born through you, that could have, you know, existed through you, and they're gonna die with you. They're gonna be in the fucking grave with you, and they're fucking mad as hell. They're standing around at you all angry.
You know what's crazy? I use that as a sample in one of my songs.
Yeah.
And it says at the very beginning, he says, "Standing around you, the ghosts of your ideas, your dreams." And the first time I ever heard that, my fucking the hairs on the back of my neck were standing up because it sounds so haunting. Like the way he said it, you could just imagine it. And I was like, holy shit. That's why I used that in one of the songs I created.
Dope.
No one
You
else.
already know. You
Yeah.
already know.
Yeah. I'll send it to you on YouTube. I'll copy the link and then I'll send it. Oh, Facebook. I'll put it on Facebook.
Yeah, anything else, man? You know, the shit that I have too, man. Like, fucking send me all the shit that you think I can utilize too, and even some of your music, man. I want to start hearing that shit.
Yeah, it's that song is it's "Slip Away." That's the name of it, and it has the Les Brown, that exact speech you're talking about in the beginning.
That's what's up.
And then the whole song is about letting your goals and dreams slip away because of lack of motivation, lack of energy, depression, whatever. And then at the end of the song, I explain how I overcame that, and now I'm able to be present time, meet people like you. So it's kind of like a getting over that hurdle.
Yeah, and it's big, man. Like, even that's so refreshing to hear. Like, somebody else actually like not only heard that before, but it's that powerful to them to actually like utilize it.
I utilized it, man. I utilized it, and it's crazy. I never met anyone else who knew about that quote. You know?
I got you, nigga. That's God.
Yep.
That's the way I see God, bro. Is like, we can look at these little tiny miracles here and there, and I keep referencing Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Fucking love Quentin Tarantino, but at the very end, when are you familiar with it? I'm sure.
No, that's what I was gonna ask, because I haven't watched that movie since I was a kid.
Man, you tripping? But, there's a moment in there when like Sam Jackson and John Travolta, they get shot at.
Yeah.
But somehow every shot misses, and John Travolta looking around, he's like, man, it's just a coincidence, man. Shit happens. And Samuel L. Jackson's like, this is divine intervention. He's like, straight up, this is divine intervention. This is big shit.
Yeah.
The reason why we're not shot. And then he makes the choice. He knows it's divine intervention. He makes the choice to leave the lifestyle that he was, being a hitman. And whereas John Travolta stays. Now later in the movie, John Travolta ends up getting killed, whereas Samuel L. Jackson made the decision to move on. But he was explaining it. He's like, how do you define divine intervention? He's like, what makes it important? Does it necessarily have to be, God parted the fucking sea, or does it have to be something that monumental, or can it be something like, oh, God help me find my car keys? Like, you can't judge that kind of shit on merit.
Yeah.
What matters the most when it comes in relation to a miracle or God or us experiencing God or something beyond ourselves is how we feel, is how it connects with us. And not only that, the effect it's going to have in our life, and the effect we choose to let it have in our life.
Yes.
And that's kind of the same as those little moments where they're happening more and more often. But whereas like you and I were able to connect on that level where no other human beings ever have, or at least if they have, we're not talking to them.
Yes.
Like, it's those moments that I really like. I look up and I'm like, thank you. Like, whatever the fuck is there, thank you for allowing this moment.
Yes, which is good because you don't know necessarily what it is. I don't
No.
think anyone does, and to be open, to be like whatever you are, whatever it is, or however many we don't know. I think that's brave because
Yeah.
my pops, my dad would be like, oh God, this and that, and take down that album artwork with you on a cross. I'm like, that I'm not religious, Dad. That's not what I'm representing. It's something else. It was just an idea, and then he's done a lot of stuff in the past that was bad. So it's kind of ironic to just be forgiven for your sins in a way. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, be the best version of yourself, like you said, every day, and
Exactly.
and strive to help. I think that's the main thing, is just to inspire others. And like, another thing you said too, you don't want to stand on the throats of other people. A book I read by Robert Kiyosaki has said, you'll never get to a place of wealth or rich by stepping on other people and holding them down.
Yeah.
That's a universal law, basically. Is like, if you're stealing, lying, cheating, holding other people down, before you know it, you'll be held down.
Well, that's what I hate, like, about what's happening right now, is because I look at motherfuckers like Donald Trump
Yes.
that became fucking billionaires and the Illuminati by standing on the fucking throats of people, dude. Like, look at, of course we do have, like, Bill Gates, and we have Steve Jobs, and we have, like, Oprah Winfrey's that are at that level, that are billionaires, that are able to utilize what they have, and they've gotten there by doing good. Now, when I really look at it in regards to, like, the yin and yang of the universe and the
Yes.
true duality of it, is because, like, grass, I know that grass is not strained to grow. I love that quote. Like,
What is
how
it? Say it again.
grass does not strain to grow.
Oh, grass does not strain to grow. Okay.
Like, universe, even though it's growing upwards against gravity, like, everything just is in the universe, man. Like,
Yes,
God,
that is so important. Everything just is.
yeah, like, even though there is evil, even though there is good, I believe that the universe or whatever, like, that's why I don't believe in the whole heaven and hell bullshit.
Yes.
Is because, like, it exists, you know? So in order to believe that God or whatever it is, like, you know, the one that I believe is just like this eternal fucking being of just infinite consciousness that created everything. In regards to that, how else would you have created life or this universe? It has to have it has to have the high highs and it has to have the low lows.
Exactly.
It has to have the evils. So in a sense, as I'm trying to explain to, like, you know, I kind of stopped wasting my breath trying to explain that to, like, Christians and shit, saying that, oh, you know, their explanation for evil is the devil apart from God, because God is all loving, and God's like, no, man, like, God, it just is. God is
It
everything.
just is.
And the same as we are. We're reflections of God, and He gives us that ability. That's why human beings are capable of the most loving, good shit.
And then the bad.
We can do some heinous fucking shit. But we would not understand how good we can really love each other and how much we can appreciate it without being able to see, like, the Hitlers and be able to see this fucking famine and be able to see other human beings in the worst condition possible. So it's just a matter of taking all that in and really understanding that each and every one of us, you know, of course, I think that the universe is good. I think that, you know, it's always going to be 51% good and love, because otherwise there'd be no need for existence. It could have just been nothing.
I asked my friend. I said, "There's actually, I believe, more good people in the world than there is bad."
Yeah.
And
yeah.
he said, "What the fuck? I think not like 9 out of 10 people are bad." I was like, "Really?" But he's in that mindset. So one of the most powerful things is, it's not what happens to you; it's how you deal with what happens to you.
Yeah.
And for him, he's in that negative, aggressive mindset. So of course he's gonna see like 51% bad people, but
Exactly.
I think it's more 51% good, or 60.
Yeah, I mean, like, I honestly do think, like, when you look at Walmart, like, of course, like, Black Friday, it's like that, but, like, for the most part, people are cool. You know, like, people want to be good to each other. We love the feeling of loving each other and taking
Yes.
care of each other. And then the feeling of just, like, you know, when people hold the door open for me, you know, like, it's there. People have helped me out when I was really in need. Like, fucking, I was flat broke and had to get back home, and I had no gas money, and this lady who kind of overheard me, and she threw me $5.
Nice.
And And, she was just like, that's what we do. We take care of each other. It's like, fuck, man. Like, people are good. Not because I'm experiencing this, but because people aren't killing each other in the streets right now. It's the social, it's not the social norm to be evil and to be hateful. It's a social norm to be good and help each other because not only
Yes.
we all survive, we're in a state of bliss, being, and happiness to where we can be ourselves and be the best versions of ourselves that we can be.
There is a threshold, I think, though. There's a line to be crossed, like happy and sad, positive and negative. The balance thingy. So like, I used to be angry all the time, and I learned how to tame it.
Yeah.
Growing older too, you get wiser, but there's always gonna be those limits where I can flash or get mad,
Yeah.
especially with traffic. And people ask, "Why do you get so mad on the road?" I go, "Well, because you're driving, and one, you're in a vehicle. Two, it's very dangerous, and it is what it is. As for every 10 cars, for every 9 cars that swerves or something, I'll be like, I'll let it go. But that 10th one, I'm gonna throw a rock at it or something. It happens so much that
Or
you
just straight run that motherfucker down.
just run it. Oh, remember that story? But hey, don't say it on this one. We'll leave that one for that podcast.
I know, that's good. That's good.
Hey, that was a bad thingy, but I was 19 at the time.
Fuck no, dude. I'm laughing my ass off, dude. Like, I'm universally living, bro. Like, I'm bipolar. Like, I'm subject to these emotions. I'm subject to depression as well, man.
Hey, we're
And I know that
humans.
instead of me hiding from it, it's like fucking even table and all that. Most people, like, I have this fucking energy and this exuberance that, I come into the office and it's not until like where I'm depressed and shit, I'm feeling like shit. People come up to me like, where you at, man? Like, where's the dick that we need? And
Yeah.
I was like, I do have this energy that I can, I can kind of manipulate the other people's energy around me. But that's not me full time. It's not that I'm faking it. Like, of course, I'm subject to this fucking too, man. Like, we're all fucking, dude. Like, I have this fucking rage. I can go off on a fucking old lady too, man. Like, we all have this shit, dude. We're not gonna be pretentious enough to pretend we're the Shaolin monks and we're gonna stay in this natural energy. Like, fuck no.
That's what I was beating myself up over because I was being very positive,
Yeah.
motivational, inspirational for a while, and then I had lyrics to the song that I wrote, and my cousin asked me, "Are you doing like motivational videos or something?" I was like, "No, I'm not. I'm doing videos of like just awareness, like,
Yeah.
hey, da da da." So not motivational per se, but more just like, of
Uh-huh.
course, inspire, but just speak my mind. I just want to speak my fucking mind. That's it. And if people relate, they do, and people have been relating lately. So I think it's cool. I think it's cool, but to have that balance and to be 51% positive would be
Yeah.
ideal.
Exactly, dude. And that's the biggest thing. Like, I'm coming to learn myself, man. Like on a level I never really thought I could.
Yes.
And it wasn't until like, over the past 6 or 7 years when I was kind of looking at myself objectively and trying to figure out like, okay, well, what was my actual mindset day to day? Where was my energy focused? Who was I focused on? And I was more focused on like other people and what they thought of me, like their perception of me. And of course, like I've always been like this fucking, hippie at heart. I am very fucking loving and
Yes.
I go on to show that to people and let them know. When I go to parties and shit like that, of course, like I could be the life of the party and be like, I kill it at fucking beer pong, bro. Like nobody's fucking business. Like
Yes.
that's something I'll fucking brag about, dude. Like I was a fucking when people are partnered with me, bro. Like we run it all night. But I'm capable of doing that as well. But then I also like most of the time I would just like when I'd go to parties, I'd get a little bit drunk and I would talk to people like on a very deep level. So, and even people that I knew before, or even I didn't know, that just popped into my fucking life. But I would just like, that was like the inside joke is like, oh, Nick's talking to people about real shit again, because nobody really did that. Like, so when they kind of hear me talking about this kind of shit at parties and like, talking to people for like a couple hours, really getting to know them, and I would get insecure about that. Like, I was like, oh, well, fuck, this is how people see me. Maybe I should stop doing that. But it took me, like, now that I'm mature enough and realize, I'm like, fuck no, man. Like, this is who I am. This is what I'm supposed to be doing.
It's
like,
a
I feel
gift.
proud.
It's a gift.
Yeah.
It's something that you should be very proud about. But I understand how you can feel insecure about that. I used to think about that all the time. Like
Yeah.
I was like, I have to go up on stage and perform in front of people. And that thought alone made my stomach turn, made me want to puke like
Yeah.
Eminem and shit, mom spaghetti. But I said, what is the regret minimization framework, like the Jeff Bezos said? And I was like, I gotta do it. I have to do that because that's gonna elevate me creatively. It's gonna build up my strength. It's a fear that I have to go up on stage, and I did it. And I've been on stage fucking like 50 plus times, whether it's you know on the mic, drumming with the band,
Yeah.
guitar, whatever it is. So that's one thing, and I was always insecure about that. But I was like, fuck. I would look at the fear and be like, Les Brown says, false evidence appearing real. And I'd just be like, that's it. But we're gonna have to wrap this one up because I'm gonna have to go back down with the baby boy.
Yeah.
But I found that what I wrote down from the book,
Yeah.
from Mastery. So it says, like seeds floating in space, they require the soil of a highly prepared and open mind to take root and sprout a meaningful idea. So that book, it talks about Einstein. It talks about geniuses and how what there's a lot of geniuses out there, but it depends on if they're gonna take it to that level or if they're just gonna. There's people playing guitar on the street that are fucking so good, but
Oh,
they.
I'll send you this video that I posted on YouTube, dude, like, or Facebook. Fucking phenomenal, this chick, dude. And she makes the fucking song. Oh my god. Like, yeah.
Is she singing and standing up and she's
Yeah.
downtown?
Yeah.
I think I've seen it. She has like a backwards hat
Yeah.
and she
Dude,
sings and
yeah, and she looks a little bit scrubbish, but then it gets like fucking. She makes it out of nothing.
Yeah.
Makes a fucking riff and then records it then, and then makes another riff.
drums. Yes, that's freaking beautiful.
Fucking real, dude. Like, how the hell human beings can do that, man? But like,
Being in that flow state, and that flow state is important.
yeah. Last thing too. So just to add on to that quote right there,
Yeah.
is just imagine the laws of the universe, like E equals MC squared, like Einstein did, man.
Yes.
Like, it's mathematics. Mathematics especially is weird because it's not like we discovered it. We didn't invent mathematics. We discovered it. Those are the laws of the universe that existed whether we understood them or not.
Yeah.
But Einstein happened to find this equation, E equals MC squared. That is truth. It's always been there, but
I don't understand what is E equals MC square.
G equals mass times the speed of light. So what it is just pretty much explaining like the conversion of energy into matter and really kind of defining. God, it really goes into so much fucking shit, but it really is just defining like the epitome of the fundamentals of reality.
Damn.
What and actually converting energy. What it takes is fundamentally everything is energy, right?
Yes. Yes.
It just kind of shows. It's one of the equations showing like how energy is actually able to be formed and solidified into that matter. Granted the speed of light and what it actually takes for it to form into mass and how much energy going into it. But it shows that time is relative to our, the same as a fly flying around the room. Its time is relative to it. Its time is. That's why I can zip so fucking fast. And shit like that.
Damn.
So yeah, it's hardcore fucking shit, dude. Understanding the fundamentals of reality.
Yeah.
And that much closer to God. But unless Einstein spent his entire life or how much of his life devoted to understanding it, how many countless hours
Yes.
of just hacking into like the hardest fucking shit in a human being, he would never be in a position of putting his mind in that soil or making his mind that soil to where the universe could be like, here's the seed that you finally, but it took him an entire lifetime. He probably didn't know why, but like those opportunities are all around us, man.
Yeah.
It takes a lifetime in some cases of really understanding it, dude. So there's an infinite amount of seeds floating throughout the universe of potential, but it's just a matter of like of how we're going to shape our minds to become what sort of soil that we can choose to be, and we never know what kind of seed the motherfucking universe is going to drop in our pot.
Exactly. For me, it's definitely music, and those creative endeavors.
Yeah.
And like Bob Proctor said, be happy that that seed's planted in you.
Yeah,
You're the mechanism. So like all that music that I play, it's not necessarily coming from me. It's coming through me
yeah,
from the universe. So that's another thing about ego. I won't be like, oh yeah, I made this song. I made this song. What I should say is, I created this from all the outside sources.
yeah,
From so just I'm privileged to be this instrument in which this fucking
yeah,
energy can flow through.
yeah.
You know. So
And then being privileged in a point like, be happy for your thumb, bro. Because if you didn't have that thumb, you couldn't hold a pick. You
yep,
couldn't hold a you couldn't hold a
drumstick.
stick to play the drums. You know, like being grateful at that level, and then being grateful to the smallest shit, man. That's why gratitude. We'll talk about gratitude on the next one, bro.
Gratitude, gratefulness is key. I'm for the next one. I'll write some stuff down, just like gratefulness, gratitude, all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But I'm gonna go now. You fucking my mind is like, which is
You
great.
feeling this shit? You feeling this shit?
Fuck yeah. So how about this? I can edit these ones down and I can put them up.
Yeah, bro.
I could
Fucking
do that.
yeah. I'll share them as well, man. Fucking, I'll put them on my thing or fucking anybody else, dude. Like it, whoever it can help. Whoever.
Yes. And let me know whenever you want to record, and then I'll be a guest on yours.
Yeah. Fucking, I need to start my shit too, and I'll get Sable and fucking Sam too, man. So
That'll be fucking dope. And then you guys can have me as a guest, and then you can upload it on your YouTube. There you go.
yeah, I'm fucking stoked, man. But all right, Demise, dude, I appreciate your time, brother. Thanks for making this happen, man.
No,
Fucking,
thank you. Thanks for reaching out, and
yeah, I
it's
love you,
humbling
bro.
experience.
Anything else you have to send, man? Fucking, we'll be touching base over the next couple days and find another time that works, brother.
Hey, maybe Sundays. Sundays are good days.
Yeah.
Sundays, or we'll figure it out. We'll see what happens.
We'll just go wherever this crazy universe takes us, man.
Exactly. All right, we're heading out.
All right, brother.
Peace out, Nick.